In this video, I'll summarize the plot of The Sun Also Rises in about 4 minutes and give you an analysis of the story. The novel begins in the 1920s, Paris, where American journalist Jake Barnes spends his time drinking and socializing with other expatriates. He is part of the Lost Generation, a group of disillusioned World War I veterans seeking meaning in post-war Europe. Jake is in love with Lady Brett Ashley, a beautiful and charismatic woman who is equally drawn to him. However, their relationship is complicated by Jake's war injury, which has left him impotent. Despite their love, Brett refuses to commit to him because she desires physical passion in a relationship. Robert Cohn, an insecure and aimless writer, is also part of Jake's social circle. He becomes infatuated with Brett, despite her lack of interest. When she leaves Paris briefly, Cohn follows her to San Sebastian, much to the irritation of Jake and their friend Bill Gorton. When Brett returns, she becomes engaged to Mike Campbell, a heavy-drinking Scottish war veteran, despite still having feelings for Jake. The tension among the group grows as they plan a trip to Spain for the annual bullfighting festival in Pamplona. The group arrives in Pamplona, where they immerse themselves in drinking, partying, and watching bullfights. There, Brett meets the young and handsome bullfighter Pedro Romero. Unlike the jaded expatriates, Romero is passionate, disciplined, and embodies traditional masculinity, which attracts Brett. Their affair angers Cohn, who still harbours feelings for Brett. In a jealous rage, Cohn physically attacks Jake, Mike, and Romero, leaving the young bullfighter bruised but not broken. Humiliated by his actions, Cohn leaves Pamplona. Brett leaves Mike and runs off with Romero, seeking something meaningful in her chaotic life. However, she soon realises that she cannot stay with him, as she feels unworthy of his purity and youth. She ultimately decides to let him go, recognising that her own instability and past relationships make it impossible for her to be with someone like him. Meanwhile, Jake and the others, disillusioned and exhausted from the festival, part ways. In the novel's closing scenes, Jake receives a telegram from Brett asking for help. He finds her in Madrid, where she has left Romero and is once again adrift. As they sit in a taxi together, Brett laments that they could have had a wonderful life together, to which Jake responds with the novel's famous final line, "Isn't it pretty to think so?" This statement captures the deep sense of lost hope and the impossibility of their love, leaving the novel with an open-ended but melancholic resolution. One of the central themes of The Sun Also Rises is the disillusionment of the lost generation, those who survived World War I but were left emotionally and spiritually adrift. The characters drown their sorrows in alcohol, travel aimlessly, and engage in shallow relationships, unable to find lasting meaning in life. Hemingway portrays a world where traditional values no longer hold, leaving his characters searching for purpose in a fragmented post-war society. The novel also explores masculinity, particularly through Jake, Cohn, and Romero. Jake's impotence challenges traditional ideas of manhood, leaving him feeling inadequate despite his quiet strength. Cohn, insecure and clinging to outdated romantic ideals, is mocked by the others and ultimately disgraced. In contrast, Romero represents an uncorrupted form of masculinity, embodying skill, bravery, and passion. However, Brett's rejection of Romero suggests that such purity cannot survive in the cynical, modern world. Hemingway critiques the fragile nature of masculinity in a world that no longer values traditional heroism.